Hello and welcome to Drug Dealer Simulator 2 on the PlayStation. Today we're going to be going over weed growing and some equipment you may want to get and a base location that's good for a starter location. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so before we get to the weed growing part, we're going to be going over the equipment, and the base location. The equipment you need and some of the locations where you can get these stuff at. Alright, here we are in our first stop for equipment. We're at the weed and equipment store. Gonna go in, talk to this guy.
Welcome back.
Here, you'll want to consider getting substance storages. This is to store all your fertilizer, water. Water is only needed if your hideout does not have any running water, and of course to hold all your products in. And of course, you're gonna need the laboratory tray just to deposit all the fertilizer and pack all your stuff if you don't already have it. If you don't already have it. Here we have the grow box and the rack. You'll want to get the rack for the growing weed and not avoid getting the grow box. I will show you why when we get back to our base. You'll also want to get the seedling box. This is to make it so that it produces seedlings, and this is so you can be self-sufficient. And I'll show you when we get back to base. If you do not see the seedling box available on this guy, it just means you have to level up his store first before it's available. You level him up simply by buying stuff. The more you spend, the faster he levels up. Now, there are 3 options for dry rack method. This is a small dry rack. It does very little and it's slow. This is an outdoor drying rack. It dries about 250 weed in a single, 250 weed at a time. Hybrid does 100, and this is only usable indoors.
Come by when I restock.
Moving on to this guy.
Oh, hello there. Came back to buy.
Here's where you can buy your seed and fertilizer bag. Now, since we got the dry rack, the rack for growing weed, you're gonna want to get your hydro elements, flower pot, and UV bulb. These are all attachments you'll need to grow. Now, there is a better bulb for it. I'll show you in a bit where this better low bulb is at. And this fan you'll want to get if you're using the hybrid dryer. This speeds up the dry process.
That's it. Well,
Alright, we're moving on to the next location. Alright, so here we are in the next location. Secondhand store. Go in, talk to this guy. Now, for buying furniture here, some of the furniture here can expand your hideout stash and substance storage. And as you can see, he's selling shelf. These are pretty useful as you can put a whole bunch of them on the walls of your hideout. Here we got a larger capacity hideout stash and sub storage. Now again, if you do not see the items you're seeing here in the video, it just means you need to level up the store first. You may also want to pick up a lock for your base. It just increases security. The higher security on your base, the less chances of theft. from my personal experience, I haven't experienced any kind of theft. I just usually put a lock on my door and that's it.
That's it.
Alright, moving on to the next location.
Goodbye.
Alright, so here we are at the hardware store in the jungle region. Right here. We're gonna talk to this
Goodbye.
guy.
Need anything?
Bye. He sells some fancy equipment for weapons and that stuff. He also sells some of the parts for the growing rack. The flower pot, bulb, hydro, and the fan for the dryer. Now this is the one you'll want to get, the red bulb. Boosts production by 15% and reduces power consumption by 25%. And as you can see, it's cheaper than the UV bulb. So it's up to you if you want to come all the way to the jungle and get this bulb for your rack.
That's it.
Alright, moving on to the last
Goodbye.
location for equipment, and this is going to be the furthest one. But for me, I find it's definitely worth the trip. Alright, so here we are at our last stop. It's called the Ghetto Equipment Store. It's right here, past the jungle. Yeah, so it's quite a bit of a trip, especially if you're starting off the game.
Smoking meth like
But this person has pretty decent equipment.
It's probably the hard meds. Gotta quit 'em.
Hola. Now, what do you need?
As you can see, she sells substance storages. That expands your overall storage by a huge amount. This is the large container you'll see at the weed equipment store that's available, but she has far bigger ones. 10K, 20K, 50K.
We gotta keep
If you
some
plan to get the
going.
large barrels and medium barrels, be mindful that it does increase your visibility. So the higher the visibility on your base, the higher the chances you are to get raided if you get a wanted stat. She sells some dry racks also here in the hybrid and drying. She sells the racks in grow box too and seedling box, but again, you'll want to get the
Oh,
rack
damn,
only.
Shaggy, that wasn't weed.
Here she also sells locks to increase your security. She also sells window studders. So if you plan on putting a whole bunch of growing racks for your weed operation, you'll want to consider getting window shutters. This reduces your visibility by 2. This you can install on your windows.
God damn,
She also
Shaggy, that
sells
wasn't
all
weed.
kinds of unique equipment for pretty much most of the drugs in the game.
Come by when I restock. I'm
Alright, so
sure
now
you'll
we're gonna
find something for
go
yourself.
to a base location that I recommend for you beginners to start off with. Alright, so here we are at our hideout location. It's a cottage, pretty much. Sorry, the UI is just a little bit terrible. Here it is, the cottage. Right here, it's next to a bus, and it's next to a store where you can buy fertilizer really close, and it's close to Lonzo's place. Now, the reason why I recommend this for, especially if you're starting off the game, is that it has running water, and this place only costs like 230K. So this is a fairly cheap hideout to start off with. Now, if you bought the lock and shutters for the windows, you can see the top left, the security and visibility. We're gonna install the lock first. Hold, install, large lock, and as you can see, the security went up. Security just reduces the chance of theft. So far, from my personal experience, I haven't seen any theft, but I always put a lock on my doors. The windows, install upgrade, window shutters. And as you can see, the visibility was lowered. So the lower the visibility, the less chance you have to get raided if you get wanted stats. Alright, let's get started with growing. Here we are with the seedling box, and the reason why you want to get the seedling box is to be able to produce these seedlings right here. There's female and male. Female seedlings produces the most weed. It produces far more than if you were to just grow just a regular seed. The male produces less weed, but it also produces seeds. So this is how you can be self-sufficient. So once they're grown, you're going to want to take them out and drop them in your hideout storage. Oh, and before I forget, we have our laboratory tray. Make sure you deposit your fertilizer into here, and it goes to substance storage. Now, remember when I said do not get the grow box, and this is why. As you can see, this only gives you the option to grow just the regular seed. It does not let you grow the seedlings here. Here for the rack, you can see on the top, this is where our bulb goes, the pot, and hydro. As you can see, the female grows 80 weed. The male grows 30 weed, but produces 8 seeds. Now, after we grow something, it'll be a here output space, and it produces Inca flower. It is not ready yet, so this wheat is not ready yet. We need to dry this, so we're gonna remove it, output storage, and you're gonna want to put it in your hideout stash. Then we're gonna move on to some drying options. Here we have the hybrid. As you can see, the maximum it does is 100, and it takes about 27 seconds for each one. So this is why I also recommended this space, because it has an outdoor space you can use. You can also use this outdoor space to put your substance storages here. This outdoor one can do 250. The downside, of course, it does take a bit longer, like 39 seconds each. So it's up to you which one you want to use, the hybrid that's indoors, or the outdoor dry racks. So once it's done drying, the finished weed will appear in the substance storage. And alright, that's all there is to it. Hope this video helps a little bit, and I'll see you next time.